Wine to Five is partially funded by Albarello Luxury Hand Soap, an unscented must-have accessory for anyone who loves wine, cooking, and food. For more information, visit albarellosoap.com.
It's not 5 o'clock, and they don't care. Welcome to Wine to Five. Entertainment, education, and everyday drinking for everyday people. Your hosts are Valerie Caruso and Stephanie Davis, two wine educators who don't need a clock to know when to pour that next glass.
Welcome to Wine to Five, episode 75. Oh my God, Steph, can you believe it?
I know. I keep thinking, like, it's our 75th anniversary or something. It's not, but I just like that it's 75 because we've come a long way. So we're back in front of our mics, so that's awesome. And Skypelandia, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a couple weeks, actually.
I know. And we were feeling kind of remorseful about that. Like, I don't know, longing.
We missed you guys.
Yes, we missed everybody. Mostly, I missed Val. I'm so glad she's back in town, but I can't wait for her to share all of her stories with everybody today. So let's get into the show because we are drinking, day drinking on Wine Wednesday. So let's bring it.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. It's Wine Wednesday, and I'm drinking beer. Yeah,
why are you doing that?
Hey, I've just been in the mood for beer, after all the exams and everything, and I'm like, man, I drank a lot of beer while we were on vacation, and this is one that we grabbed before we went, and this is the Southampton Public House Pumpkin Ale. That's right, it's September, and I've got the pumpkin thing going on in the house. This one's from Long Island, New York, and what's interesting about this one, this isn't just flavored. This is actually brewed with real pumpkin. And then they threw some spices in it. But this is a 5.5% alcohol, and it's not like super in-your-face pumpkin-y, but it is delicious, and I am enjoying it on this beautiful fall afternoon. I know.
Nice. That sounds delicious. I have not gotten on the pumpkin kick yet, but it, I'm sure, is going to be waiting for me come November.
Oh, I know. And that's something for another day, too, about your upcoming trip, too.
Yes.
What do you've got in your glass right now?
Well, I have something. It's kind of a, 14% alcohol. When you just said 5.5, I was like, I'm kind of having some stiff stuff right now. Vermouth del Professore. And it's, yeah, I know. And the label is even way cooler. So it's an Italian aperitif inspired by an ancient Piedmont recipe. I had never had this one before. I ended up picking it up at Vom Foss. I think you tried it when we were all there together.
We did.
Yes.
I love this one.
I know. It's so good. I was going to give this bottle as a gift to, some lucky person, and then I couldn't resist. And I had to open it and enjoy it. So it's even numbered. I thought this was kind of cool. So, I know what number out of 10,000 bottles I have. And I did take a photo of it, which everybody will see because it'll be in the blog. But I got extra dorky and threw some Prisma app at it. And I don't know if anybody's used that app before for their photos. But it totally makes it look so cool. It's just, way awesome now. So, anyway, you will see that. And I think it might be my new Davis House staple dry vermouth. Because this isn't the sweet kind. This is the dry kind.
Right.
But loving it. So, yeah, that's what I'm drinking. But you know what? Let's get into the show because I want to hear all about your road trip through Walla Walla and Idaho.
Oh, my gosh. Well, we did actually a 6-state Western tour.
6 states, really?
6 states, yeah.
Okay.
6 states, including Colorado. Even places in Colorado we've never been before. And honestly, I was mostly off the grid. I had my phone on the DND, Do Not Disturb, which I just learned about. That's brilliant. And now it's on every night from 6 p.m. to 10 a.m. the next morning. And I love it. So can't call Val, can't text her, I get no notifications at all. I love it. And plus, a lot of times it wasn't by choice. There was just no damn service.
Yeah.
In a lot of places in Wyoming and Montana. And, we went through Yellowstone and Jackson Hole. And other than getting on an occasional Untapped, I don't think I've ever talked about it on the show because I don't do a lot on there. It's just kind of my diary of beers I've liked. I don't like rating and scoring things, but I'll find a beer that I like and then I'll go out there and I'll put it out there. But if I don't like the beer, it doesn't go into Untapped.
Yeah.
And then it goes right to Twitter. So that's about all the activity, maybe an occasional Instagram you may have seen during that about 2 weeks that we were out. And one of the highlights was checking out the tasting room at College Cellars in Walla Walla.
Cool.
Have you ever heard of them?
No.
This is part of Walla Walla Community College, and I want to call them and ask them to come on the show because they have an enology and viticulture program that is super cool. The students do everything. They manage the vines, they do the harvest, they make the wine, they have this humongous cellar, they run the tasting room, and they sell the wine.
And how did you find this place?
It's just something that I found probably when I was exploring my wine education options because I still have the GI Bill to use. Yeah. And I haven't been able to use it for any of this mega expensive diploma anything. I did get a reimbursement for CWE, but I haven't been able to use my GI Bill, and I've got to use it. And so I was looking for wine programs and came across it, and they have a superb, I think they were the first tasting room in the country that was attached to a college and run by students.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I brought back some of their wine, and I ran into some of the students. They were running the tasting room. So there was a second-year student, Eli, gave us a really cool tour. And then I ran into Sam, Cheryl, Anna, and Deviani. And they actually sat down and told me where they came from before they were in the college. 2 of them were on duty, so we couldn't talk long. And the other 2 were just there doing their homework, drinking their homework, girl.
Yeah, that's right up our alley.
And they all came from, interestingly enough, other careers to get into the wine world, just like us. I mean, one was a grandma, she was into horses, and, one came from teaching classes in China. Another one came from a lab, always running at the end of grants. And hopefully if I can get the audio and permission from the school, I would really love to have some of the audio on the show because school was in session 5 days and these kids were just loving. I can't even say kids, they were somewhere my age, and they were just really in love with all that this school lets them get their hands on.
That's really cool.
So
I definitely want to hear those bits for sure.
Oh, yeah. Super interesting people. They, like I said, they sat down and, shared their funny wine stories and really cute stories. But, I want to make sure the school's good with it first, before I go. And so, yeah, I'm gonna contact Danielle and see if I can actually get her on the show and see if we can talk more about that school in case any of our listeners are interested in a wine education in enology and viticulture or wine business.
Cool. I think so. Well, so tell us more about Idaho.
Oh, yeah. So Idaho is also one of our states. And what was really cool about Idaho is John's niece is there. So she gave us a really cool tour of one of the coolest cities, Boise, that I've ever seen. And of course I had to try Idaho wines. And you guys may remember that there was one American viticulture area there called the Snake River Valley. That was back in 2007 when it was first approved, and it's shared with Oregon. Well, what I didn't know was their second AVA, because I obviously wasn't keeping up on Idaho wines, was approved just last year, and that's called the Eagle Foothills, and that's a sub-AVA of the Snake River Valley. And then the third is brand new as of May this year.
Wow.
And it's shared with Washington State. And that's the Lewis-Clark Valley, and that's almost 3/4 of northern Idaho. But interestingly enough, there are 2 cities that face each other, and you can't see my body language, but I'm like going back and forth like 2 Pac-Mans on either side of the river along the Snake River, and one is Lewiston in Idaho, and one is Clarkston in Washington, and they're named after Lewis and Clark.
Yeah.
And that's their third AVA. But bottom line, they make some banging wines. They grow Riesling. They grow Chenin Blanc, Malbec, Cabernet, Chardonnay, Petit Syrah. They have over 50 wineries in Idaho. Did you know that?
No.
1,600 plus acres of Vitis vinifera. Those are wine grapes. Okay, the acreage. And they have a wide range of styles from sparkling to still to dry to sweet. And I only got to one winery. I got to Saint Chapelle, which is actually, they were pouring Gruet in their tasting room as well, because they are both owned by Precept Wine in Seattle. And I didn't know, I'm like, wait, Gruet's as in New Mexico? They're like, yeah, it's our sister winery. But this winery is beautiful. I'll put some pictures up. It's in Caldwell, Idaho. I had the pleasure of visiting this winery, tasting some gorgeous wines on a gorgeous day, and I brought you back some Chenin Blanc.
Yay, thank you.
Beautiful prices.
Really?
Oh my God, Idaho wine is so affordable and so delicious for the price. I almost don't want to talk about it because then people will catch on and,
yeah.
And the whole Parkerization of Idaho might happen. I don't know. But Saint Chapelle is Idaho's biggest winery and the oldest, founded way, way back in 1975.
Now, didn't we talk about Saint Chapelle once before on the show?
I don't remember if we did.
I thought we had some factoid about Idaho one time, and I can't remember. I want to go back and see if I can find it because I would love to reference it. But
we may have, but since I'm older than the winery, I don't remember. So it was, however, and maybe this is what we talked about, one of Daily Meal's top 100 wineries in the U.S. back in 2015.
Yeah, that might be it because you've got such a good radar, WinoRadar.
And speaking of,
this is pretty cool. Val and I found in the Tasting Panel magazine a truffle vodka that's called Black Moth. And that just sounds so wicked cool, seriously.
It does.
So, well, if you love truffles. If you don't, it sounds horrible, right? You know, it would be like if there was a cilantro vodka, you know. But I love truffles, and so I'm excited for this. Although it's not available yet in the U.S. So once it gets here, you know, making some nice martinis or Bloody Marys or, you know.
Can you imagine a Bloody Mary with this? And then you take the little toothpicks with it, like maybe the sottocenere cheese and maybe some truffle cheese and blue cheese. I don't know. Blue cheese would be too much. But, you know, can you imagine the martinis that you can make with this?
Oh, my gosh. Maybe even have like a little mushroom garnish or some silly thing. That would be so...
Girl.
I'd be like, I'm getting that. I'd see it like walk by on a tray. I'd be like, I'm having whatever they're having.
Shaved truffle on top. And they say in this article, it's been in production actually since 9 years ago. This article is by Rachel Berkins, that the guy she interviewed, Paul Amin, the founder and CEO, he said it acts like a gin. Oh. So if you think about it with tonic, like juniper does in tonic, the truffle, and these are authentic Perigold truffles. So you think of that with a nice tonic water.
Yeah.
Which adds a little bit of bitterness, which brings me to the next WinoRadar.
Go for it.
Speaking of gin and bitterness, and, you know, guys, one of my friends posted this, and I already warned her this was going in the show. She's a gin collector. A friend of ours actually put it on her page because there's an article in something called The Tab in UK that says, experts say that gin lovers have potential to be massive psychopaths.
That's so ridiculous.
And she tags me in it. So I don't know if she's trying to say, yeah, it says gin lovers are all massive psychopaths according to experts. So I took the clickbait.
Yeah, it was.
And I said, who are the experts? Because anytime somebody says experts, you got to question. Your critical thinking skills have to kick in. Well, these are psychological experts at the Innsbruck University of Austria. And apparently people who enjoy bitter food and drink are more likely to be Machiavellian, psychopathic, narcissistic, and everyday sadistic. Because if you think about it, bitter foods are nature's way of telling you, hey, don't eat that. It's poisonous.
Yes, that's
so
true.
if you're willing to eat something, or you and I, we like amari.
But I love everything bitter. Oh, my gosh.
We do, too. So this means that you're more likely to enjoy tormenting people.
Maybe my husband would agree with that. I don't think so, though. I think you know who we should ask about this?
Yeah.
We should have Tim and I weigh in on this whole thing.
You know, we totally should, because I had to raise another question. What kind of crap gin are they drinking that's bitter?
Right.
Gin isn't necessarily bitter unless you're adding tonic water. It's the quinine, because like John can drink gin, but he can't have anything bitter. Mm-hmm. But once you add that tonic water and you've got that bitter, you know, on the back of the palate, you know, that's where things get bitter. So I'm like, what kind of gin are y'all drinking? You know, for sure. But anyway, I just thought it was hilarious, you know, and I thought it'd be fun to kind of kick it around that, hey, Steph and I, we both enjoy amari and actual bitter. So you guys out there are listening to a couple of psychopaths talk about wine and bitters and cocktails and vermouth, which has a bitter agent in it. And perhaps an IPA occasionally because, you know, high IBUs, lots of bitter, lots of hops, bitter.
That's right.
So all you IPA lovers, you're probably psychopaths too.
I can't wait to see how the title of this episode goes.
I can't either because I have no idea. So we got big news. Besides, we're psychopaths and we love truffle vodka. What do we got going on that's super cool?
Oh my gosh, we are still riding the magic carpet of pure excitement and joy from last night. Val and I jumped the shark and not only created our very own Patreon page, but we already have a patron. Woohoo! So that's so exciting. We were so like texting crazy with sending bitmojis and everything. Like, we were so happy. But for anybody who doesn't know, Patreon is a crowdfunding platform that a lot of other podcasters use, and so we're going to tell you a little bit about that. There's different donation levels, and it's really there because we love you guys and we want to keep creating. So
absolutely. We thought we would go ahead and try Patreon, and we came up with different pledge levels. Anyone who does pledge $1 or more a month because they find value in our content and they get it, they want their wine content on demand when they want it, those $1 a month patrons are actually our wine-tastic listeners.
So for $1 a month, that's the pledge.
Yeah.
Then you can be a Patreon.
Yeah, and they can get, of course, a shout-out during the shout-out section in our Undying Gratitude under the Wine-tastic Listener category, and you can quit whenever you want. So you might go for a couple months and go, okay, now Val and Def are really psychopaths, and I don't want to support them anymore. Or you might really be into the psychopath thing and perhaps pledge $2 or more a month, and those are your tastemaker listeners. You guys out there get the shout-out. You also get a cameo appearance in our blog, immortalized in bits and bytes along with our Undying Gratitude, and also email us a photo and we'll put your photo in our blog as well. So that is the Tastemaker listener. And then we actually have our first patron at $5 or more a month, and these are our quintessential it's not 5 o'clock and we don't care listeners. That means you want your podcast when you want it, you want your wine when you want it. Nobody's going to tell you when it's time to pull that cork. Plus, we have some exciting new W25 logo gear coming soon, and you're going to get the first offering. So we need your shipping address as well as a picture.
Woo! And I have to say it. I'm just going to say it right now because we already have our first It's Not 5 o'clock and We Don't Care listener, and it was Meg, and we love you so much. Thank you for being our first patron on Patreon. It was so lovely to meet you in DC, and who knew that this would all come together. But thank you for supporting us, and send us a pic so we can put you on our blog, and we'll need your address so we can get you some of our cool swag coming up.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
Yay! So, okay, Val, let's get back to what were the other pledge levels?
Well, the other levels are more of the sponsor level. So we have something called a reserve a sponsor. These are the $20 a month. So these are people that probably have a business or something they want to draw attention to. They're going to get a 15-second pre-roll at the beginning of the show, kind of like the Albarello is there now.
Right.
You plus all previous rewards, the blog love, the shout out, the links to your business, all that kind of stuff. Again, don't forget to email us a photo and a link to all the stuff you want to plug. And then, of course, the Grand Reserve, a show sponsor. We only have room for one of those a month, and that is a $50 a month pledge. And that's your 30-second pre-roll at the beginning, which is what we have now for Albarello, our show sponsor right now. And you get product mention placement at the end of the show. So we'll talk about your product. It's got to be something that we're on board with. So, like, we're not advertising, cigarettes or I don't know, got to be something that, we're on board with and we're okay with ethically. And we are also very generous with shout outs, blog love, special thanks on the website, all previous rewards. And then, of course, you, the sponsor, get the benefit from reaching enthusiastic and engaged super fans, which is what you listeners are all over the world. I mean, how cool is that?
It is so cool. So, and I'm so glad that we did it, and we've got our first pledge, so that's cool. And we have a lot of other cool stuff to talk about too, right?
We really do. I mean, the show is growing like crazy, and, we are investing some serious time and resources in the show. So all these things that we have going on does help keep the show fresh, helps the community stay engaged, and just helps with the reinvestment in the show. So all this stuff is coming soon. We can't really tell you yet what because we haven't got our orders yet, but we're working on those.
Yeah, and I think it just goes to show that this is the evidence that you guys get it and you value our content and our mission and our creativity that we bring to this audio show. And we value you guys, and I think, it's clear to us that you're valuing what we're doing. And so it's cool to also see that, we make friends when we meet you at events, but our listeners are even making friendships online, and that's really cool too. So I think there is a Wine25 community at large at this point.
There is, and it's so exciting. So it's kind of like we're like the hangout, if you will, for wine lovers all over the world, and it's so exciting to see that.
Yeah, so just go to www.patreon.com/wine25podcast and find a level of support that works for you, even if it's $1 every month.
Absolutely. All right, it's shout out time.
Woo! So many shout outs, but we have been putting the people in our blog and just so excited about all of this love, listener love. I like how you put that, listener love. It's like we need another sexy guy voice to say listener love.
We're going to slow jam the listener love. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, first, shout out to Michelle Miller in Reno. And here's what she said, and she said it so well that we are going to read it word for word. My wine camp friends, Stephanie and Valerie, have an awesome wine podcast, Wine25. Who knew? Well, now I have been binge listening since I have returned. These girls are just simply fabulous. It is a great way to spend some time learning, sipping, and listening to my favorite topic, wine. They are very knowledgeable, fun, and entertaining. I encourage everyone that is interested in wine to give them a try. So with this post, I am participating in their hashtag W25 challenge. I had this amazing dessert wine the other night. It was a Passito di Pantelleria DOC from Sicily. The grape is Zebibo, aka Muscat of Alexandria. It had notes of white peach and fig. It was very similar to a tawny port, but with a much smoother finish. I just loved it. Now I need a bottle. Have you ladies had it? Cheers!
How cool is that? And so that's kind of like the hashtag W25 challenge too. And,
yeah.
And she's out there on Instagram. I want to say it's like Reno Wine Girl. Is it?
I don't remember.
Reno Wine, but you can find her on Instagram. She's pouring wine in fabulous places and posting pictures of these things. But we thank you, Michelle, for that awesome expression of love and entering the hashtag W25 challenge, because you are in my magic paper bag right here for the drawing next week.
And you might be on the show with us.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
that would be cool. And I have another shout out to my friend Kate Berry. She's in Germany, and she sent me this message on the Book of Face just today. I am digging your Wine to Five podcasts. Went back to the beginning last week. Really liked the Wine on Vacation episode. Loved your advice about what you should do in the restaurant too. And then she sent me another note when I said, send me a picture. So before her phone died, she said, your podcast is witty and educational. I crack up just reading the titles.
I know, they're so good. Val's titles are so good.
Well, thank you. Like I mentioned before your episode, too, I think, where you explain how to taste a wine when you are out at a restaurant. That is always one of those, I am doing this, right? moments that I have. And I can hear her voice saying that. She's so cute. You, too, make wine approachable and comfortable. Thank you.
That is so cool. And you know, I really like that all the way back to Wine on Vacation, that was episode 1.
It was. And the other thing about that that's really kind of serendipitous is Kate was a fellow lieutenant when I was stationed at Beale back, oh my God, like 16, 17 years ago. And she's one of the people I first went wine tasting with. I've got a picture of her and some friends in front of a winery in Napa. And my first trip to Napa was with Kate and some other lieutenants. So she was there at the beginning of my wine journey.
How crazy.
How crazy is that? So she's in Germany now and raising 3 adorable kids. But thank you for that.
Thank you, Kate.
Yeah, Kate is just adorable. So I think that brings us to the end of the podcast for now.
No, it doesn't, because I have a shout out for
you do
Valerie.
Too? Oh!
Valerie passed her diploma for the Wine and Spirit Education Trust, and we are so excited. Me and the whole world. Woohoo!
Yay! Thank you. You don't have to hear about me beating my head against the wine tasting binders anymore.
She did it. You did it on the first try, and you just knocked it out of the water. And seriously, girl, that's so awesome.
Thank you. I am so excited. I'm still kind of riding that little magic carpet of happiness, too, until that certificate's in my hot little hands anyway. So, yeah, it's good to be done. I'm taking a year off from the wine studies and just going to do the podcast and, yeah, drink whatever the hell I want. So there's that.
Yeah, there's that.
That's nice. Yeah.
get back to
Oh my
drinking.
God.
There's always that. Well, and now we can get to the end.
Now we can get to the end. So yes, you can connect with me, Val, on Twitter. I'm at WineGalUnboxed, and on the Vino with Val Facebook page, and on Instagram as Vino with Val. Steph here, she's on Twitter at Albarello Soap, and on the Albarello Soap Facebook page, and check out her videos on the Albarello YouTube channel.
And you can visit us on our website, twoffive.com, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, and Google+. So you can find us at all of those places and interact with us, please. And you can also build your collection of wine books, accessories, all sorts of wine gadgets and goodies on our online store. That is on our website. I know some of our listeners really want to find the books that we mention on the show. They are on our website. So check that out, just to be clear. Yeah, now that we've got the Patreon, we definitely want you guys to go check that out. Mm-hmm. And we also still have the Speak Pipe. So we would love some more burning wine questions and comments. And then we will put you into the content of our show with your question. So definitely check that out. And we would love some more glowing 5-star iTunes reviews. And for those of you that are not listening from iTunes, leave us a review from wherever you're listening. Dude, we love reviews. So iTunes or wherever. And one more thing, just a reminder, the hashtag W25 challenge is still going on. We will be drawing somebody at the end of this month for the third quarter winner. So when you're trying new wines or any kind of drinks, give us a post with, use the hashtag W25 challenge, photo, what you're drinking, and you get your name in the drawing to be on the show with Val and I.
That's right. And it's all up in the blog, too. So lots of blog updates coming, our website updates coming. We've got to add the Patreon page and all that. But you'll see some of your pictures or some community hashtag W25 challenge tasting going on, too, where they're doing them in groups now, which I love. So those pictures are all in the blog. And we thank you guys for playing along. We got a mighty diverse bag of entrants this year. So I will comb social media one more time in a couple weeks, and we will get all those posted for you.
Well, cool. Well, and cheers to you, Val. Congratulations.
Thank you. And cheers to all our listeners, because we wouldn't be here without them.
Thanks, Meg.
Thanks, Meg. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Wine to Five podcast. Be sure to check us out at Facebook/WineTWO5 and tune in next week for more fun and useful sip tips.